Hi, I'm now going to cover the topic of the gangway slate and tile clamp, which we see in kit form in front of me here, are fully assembled on the right hand side. And how and why we would use this, basically you'd use it on a house that doesn't have a chimney, or where the chimney is inaccessible, to mount either a light contract aerial such as this, or a light we'll say you can actually put an adapter on top of this, which we're don't currently but will soon stock on the tvtrade.ie website, to allow you to mount a camera. So I mean, it's ideal from that situation, but I'd say from a safety perspective, it's very, very important that people do not load this particular bracket with a heavy load, because it'll be fine until the first heavy storm, and then with a heavy load, it might cause quite a bit of damage to your roof. Okay, so in the right circumstances, it's ideal. So I'll just go through the assembly of how to use this. In terms of tools that you could possibly use, you just need a 10mm socket such as this, a long neck one without the ratchet. The ratchet isn't really necessary. And also, for the second part of our video, when I'll actually be on the roof fitting this to a tile, you can use it with either tiles or slates. You can use a screwdriver, but once again, you probably wouldn't need this. Okay, I'll quickly go through the assembly steps here. So I'll start off here. So we take the nuts off of the U-bolt here, and I simply slot them through this mechanism here, and it slots through like this. So I get a nut and a bolt, a nut on the far side, and I screw it in, and another nut again. So you see what I've done in terms of the assembly there. And so what we have now is we have a mechanism here which we can use to hold the pole here. Here. I'll fit this in a minute, it'll be in my way if I assemble it now. So the next thing here is the main part of the bracket is here, and what we'll do is we come along and we mount this bracket here like this on it. So there's two holes there. So the first thing is I actually get a nut from underneath. I push it through. So this nut will actually go through 3 pieces of metal. It'll go through the bottom base. It'll go through the next part here, and then the final clamp to actually hold the clamp for the pole itself. So just work here as quick as I can. Come along here, and I'll simply do this for the next nut. If you see the back of these, they're actually very smooth, and that's of course because the bottom of this bracket here will actually be in contact with the slates and tiles, and we don't want to mark them, okay? And so what we have here is just repeated this process. Shove the U-bolt through to have it out of my way, and this process here, okay? Now we're left, there's 3 sticky pads we have here, which we'd simply put in 3 different locations. We'd have them here, here, and here underneath, and this is to stop marking of the tiles, and also to get padding in between the tiles over a period of time. So what we do now is we have to look at how we want to do this. So if you look at this metal, it's 3 holes in it, but the top hole here actually has a stamp in it. If you see the mark of it here, is if we push this up, when it pulls down, it'll catch the ridge of the tile underneath, and it'll help to lock this tile securely into position. So what I'll actually do here is we'll just continue on, and I'll just come along and we put this underneath. I shove this long bolt through. So I have the holes lining up there. Shove this long nut through. We twist it so it lines into the hole itself. And now what we can do is we can screw it all the way down. And we'll repeat this process for the other 3 points. So we'll similarly mount this here, and this one will be mounted actually doubling up underneath here. Okay, and so at that point, what we'll do is we're actually going to we'll come along here. We'll mount this pole here, and what I'm going to actually just show you here in relation to the aerial itself. What we would do is, if we had this mounted on the thing, we can adjust this to whatever angle we want, tighten in the nuts, and lock it into that particular angle first. And then what we can do is we can use something like this pole here, when it's mounted on the roof, to mount an aerial which will have full elevation. Obviously, because of the slope of the roof, you won't have the full 360 degrees. You obviously don't have an aerial pointing into the roof, but you'll certainly have full 180 degree rotation towards the front, so you can pick up a signal from 180 degrees. So we're just going to suspend filming now, and when we restart filming, I'll actually be up on the roof with this particular bracket and showing you how to fit it onto the tiles. As you can see now, we're up in the roof here, and we're about to fit this clamp onto a roof, as you can see, which has no chimney on it. So we'll start off and just do it one corner at a time. So the first one is the most awkward. We simply get my finger. I could use a screwdriver for this, but I slip in the first corner. Then I get the next corner, and I come to the point where I'd like to slip it in, and I slip this in, and then I finally come to the final thing here. And simply slide this in. Now what we can do is we can slowly but surely push this clamp up. So we push it up as high as here. Up it goes. And what we want to do is we want to actually have it overlapping, where it's catching, where the metal ridge here is catching onto the tile. So that's as far as we can have it, and it's going to maximise the grip. And what we do now is we take my 10mm socket here, and we use this to lock into the nuts here. So because the bottom of the bolt can't turn, it's actually locking in tight. So it's clamping itself very tightly down on top of this. And we can repeat the same process in the bottom here. Possibly what we want to do is just push this forward a little bit here, get the clamping point as close as possible to the tail. So you can actually see the slate here is slightly lifted. And what we'll do here now is we can drop an aerial on. We have adjusted the angle, whatever, like this. We can mount an aerial here, such as this. So now we've been able to successfully light a light UHF aerial onto a roof that has no chimney, or if the chimney was inaccessible. And that's it from beginning to end. Now, once again, I'm just going to stress, and I wouldn't normally do this, but for a second time in this, I'm going to outline the importance of safety on this, both for accessing the roof, make sure that you have the proper ladders, and also particularly if you're loading up this, don't put anything heavier than something like this contract aerial. This is perfectly safe, but anything heavier than this in storm circumstances could possibly lead to damage to your roof, or worse, damage to a person.